I recently decided to take a look through my Steam library just to see which games I had the most playtime on Steam. And there was actually some in there that even surprised me.
Today's video is sponsored by SecretLab. We all strive for the best possible gaming experience, but the importance of a good quality chair is often underestimated. SecretLab produces some of the most comfortable and high quality gaming chairs you can get. So upgrade your Commander chair today and fly in style and comfort. Follow the link in the video description to their store, type in your height, your weight, and it will tell you which chairs fit you for the best possible seating experience.
We're going to start this list out with my 10th most played game on Steam, and I should say that I'm just running off Steam numbers here, so games outside Steam that I played outside is not going to be on this list. And that is No Man's Sky. Probably not a big surprise, maybe it's a surprise that it's so far down the list. I haven't actually played it that much, 140 hours. No Man's Sky is one of those games where I will sometimes pick it up and I'll have an absolute blast when I play it. But often after a month or two, I kind of lose interest in it again. And I've been thinking about why that is. And I think it's because of the intense focus on the not space part of the game. I think I just prefer games that are more focused on space rather than focused on the planet side exploration. But it's a great game, and if you are into just exploring weird planets with all kinds of weird animals and plant life, then No Man's Sky is definitely for you. Moving up to number 9, there's probably one that you wouldn't expect on this list, and that is Path of Exile. If you don't know the game, it's one of those top-down hack-and-slash action RPG games, kind of a bit like Diablo, but the game mechanics is much deeper in terms of possibilities for making variants build. You have this like skill gem concept that you have to link together the skills in order to make them function. So you have main skills with support skills attached to them, and there's all kinds. It's quite complicated. I really do, and you'll probably see this on this list, I really do enjoy these top-down hack-and-slash type of games. And all the games on this list is going to fall into one of 3 categories. There's all the space game stuff, which is obvious. I love space games, which is why you will see a lot of them on this list. Then we have these more social games, which are games that I've been playing with friends or people from this channel's community. And then there's what I call off-camera games, which are just games that I play on my own time, that I'm never going to make any videos on it. It's just something I play when I need to, not do YouTube stuff and I just want to sit and play something. Then sometimes it's nice to have something completely different. Path of Exile is one of those games that I have played quite a bit. Currently sitting at 159 hours. Moving up to number 8 on the list, we have Fallout 76. Again, this might be a surprise to you, but this was one of those social games where a friend of mine doing the COVID lockdown, we were like, okay, we need to pick up a game that we can sit and just play together because we both have a lot of spare time on our hands. We decided to pick up Fallout 76, and while the game got a rough start and got a lot of bad press when the game was originally released, we actually had a pretty good time. Ended up spending almost 200 hours, 184 to be exact, in the game before we kind of moved on to other things. But yeah, we both had a blast. Not sure we would have played for that long if I was playing solo, but as a co-op, if you play together with a friend, it's quite enjoyable. Number 7 is Factorio. This is one of those we played with one of the guys on my Discord server. We spent quite a bit of time in this game, also in Satisfactory, but that's not through Steam, so that won't be showing on this list. But yeah, we played Factorio, we played Satisfactory, and we built some rather large factories. If you're not familiar with these two games, Factorio is like, as you can see here, a top-down 2D factory builder game, and it's all about optimizing your factory so that you have the correct component at the correct assembly stations and at the correct rate so that everything just runs smoothly. It's a super satisfying game when everything just runs the way it is. Super deep, you can go and do like logic circuits and all kinds of fun stuff. Satisfactory is more of a first-person version of this, but it's kind of the same concept. You build factories that build stuff, and that stuff needs to be fit into other factories, so you build more and more complicated stuff, you need more and more complicated resources. And if you like those kind of like sit, min-max, and just make everything pretty, then those two games, definitely something. Number 6 on the list is kind of a sad story, if you ask me. That's the game called Fractured Space. Now, I'm not expecting that you will know this game. Only people who've been with this channel for a very long time might know it. Fractured Space was a game that came out quite a few years ago now. It was a a space MOBA. So games like League of Legends, for instance, where you have like a base at each end, and then you have like a number of corridors, and you go down one of these corridors and you fight the enemies, the players that come in the other direction. You need to take over objectives, and eventually you need to go and capture the enemy base, and if you do so, you won the fight. You have different ships, and all the different ships have different roles. Some are like heavy tanking ships. Some are crowd control that has abilities to move you around. Some are like cloaking ship with snipers. Some are healing ships. There were all kinds of different ships that had a vital different role in the combat. And knowing how to spend the resources in those ships and how to play those ships well was really difficult. And I enjoyed this game a lot. Unfortunately, it just didn't succeed. The game has shut down. You can still install it through Steam, and I actually tried not too long ago, but you can't play it anymore. There's no servers to connect to. It doesn't work in single player. The game really had potential, and I'm kind of sad that it didn't succeed. Halfway up the list, we're at number 5, and we have one that's probably not going to surprise you, Kerbal Space Program. Probably a game you don't really need much introduction to. You build rockets, you send rockets into space, and more often than not, rockets will end up in a huge explosion. But if you like building rockets, if you want to have a game that has amazing orbital mechanics, if you actually want to learn orbital mechanics, then Kerbal Space Program might be something you're interested in. There's actually a new version, Kerbal Space Program 2, coming out in the not too distant future, which is something you can be pretty sure to see me do a number of videos on when it comes out. We get to number 4, we have another top-down hack-and-slash action RPG, and this time it is Grim Dawn. Very similar game to something like Path of Exile. Again, top-down hack-and-slash, they're not that different. Where Path of Exile have this massive skill tree that can seem a little overwhelming. Grim Dawn is a little bit more simplified with some more simple build mechanics. Still lots and lots of options with, again, these skill runes and stuff like that. So like the customizability for these games is really good. You can really customize your character to exactly the way you want it to. Something I always thought the Diablo series of games kind of lacked. Like you had some spells you could level up in, but they kind of lacked a true like build process for your character. It's nowhere compared to what you get into games like Path of Exile, Grim Dawn. I do like my top-down hack-and-slash games, and Grim Dawn sits up here with almost 300 hours played, and it's another one of those off-camera games that I'll just play on my own time. Okay, now it gets exciting, and we're getting into top 3, and we're looking at a game called Monster Hunter World. Third-person, like chase cam kind of game where you play in like this fantasy world where there are big monsters, and you need to go and research them, which often means taking a great big sword and cleaving their head into. But you go and research these monsters, and it's basically like, yeah, so they've just Monster Hunter World. You go out, you fight the monsters, and the whole purpose of the game is that you have to learn to read the monster's movesets, and you need to learn to see when a monster is hurt. For instance, it will change the way it behaves. It might begin to get a slight of a limp when it is hurt. And you need to learn the moveset so you can dodge your way out of it if the monster's attacks. There are different build options, not as complicated as you get in an action RPG game, but there are some relatively complex build options for different types of builds where you maybe can focus on adding a lot of stun to it, so the monster will stun a lot. Maybe you just go for pure DPS, maybe you go for more of a tanky, slow DPS build. There's plenty of options again. This was another social game for me, where I played it with one of the guys over on Discord, and as you can see, we played it quite a lot, and I played it for 340 hours. We did also play the new Monster Hunter that came out after this one. Not as much, but definitely Monster Hunter World as my third most played game on Steam. In second place, we have a game that probably won't need an introduction on this channel, which is Elite Dangerous. I'm going with the Steam statistics here, which is 1,439 hours. It's a bit of a controversial here. I'll explain it when we get to the number 1. Why? Because obviously the Steam numbers doesn't tell everything. Because if I actually go in and take a look at my in-game stat in my in-game codex, the amount of time that I played added up to 3,562 hours, which is like more than twice as what's reported on Steam. So obviously I do have quite a bit more playtime across my characters, and this does not include the amount of time that I spent researching outside the game where I'm sitting trying to come up with a build or trying to make some program or make Commander's Toolbox or other stuff like that, which obviously takes a ton of time as well. Elite is only my second most played game on Steam. Now, before we get to number one, I just want to have a few honorable mentions here, because there is a number of games that's obviously not on Steam, but I have spent a lot of time in. And one of them, of course, is Star Citizen. You will see me do a number of videos on it. It's not on this list, as I said, because it's not on Steam, but I have spent a significant amount of hours in Star Citizen as well. And I also want to mention EVE Online, a game I played back before I started this YouTube channel, pretty much through my entire high school and beginning of my university years. I played a lot of EVE Online to the point where it was pretty much a second job. But that is also one of the reasons why I stopped playing it, because it did become a second job. Everything in the game is player built and player sold. So everything that's sold in the game is somebody went out to an asteroid field, they mined the resources, those resources went into a production plant that then built it. Everything from modules, ships, weapons, everything in the game is player made. And that's made the economy in the game quite unique, and it's one of the big selling points. And EVE Online is also known for these huge, massive fleet fights where thousands of players are fighting thousands of players on each side with massive capital ships and like thousands of hours of gameplay lost in ships that are being destroyed in these fights. So it's massive, but it does consume a lot of time. Okay, we get into number one, and yeah, it's a bit cheesy. I don't know. I was really in doubt whether I should have included it, but that is Vegas Pro. Vegas Pro is, well, technically it's not even a game. It's the editing software that I use to make all my videos in. It sits with the Steam statistics on 2,433 hours. So the hours here is actually even less than my actual hours in Elite Dangerous. But as I said at the beginning of the video, I wanted to go through the Steam statistics. So therefore I have to, if I have to follow my own rule, put that on top. The number here, of course, is a little misleading because, well, this is also the software that does all my rendering. And that means when the videos are rendering, the program is just open, sitting, doing the renders, and I might be off doing something else, maybe playing another game and having this just run in the background rendering while I play a game or something like that. But I wanted to include it here anyway, and the reason I decided to include it here anyway is kind of to try and highlight how much time actually goes into making these videos. I mean, I have almost as much time rendering and editing videos as I have actually playing Elite Dangerous. Just to put that into perspective. Making these videos, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort. But it's something I do because I really do enjoy it. I have a ton of fun with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been doing this for like 7 years or something stupid like that. And if you do enjoy the videos that I make, I would really appreciate it if you would show it to me either by liking this video, or if you think I really did a good job with some of the videos I do, there's a subscribe button below. I would appreciate if you would go down and consider subscribing to the channel as well. But that was my list. Let me know in the comment section, what is your most played game on Steam, and was there any of the ones on my list that you were surprised about? That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and also next time, I'll see you guys in space.